is up? Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful day. Back here with some more Resident Evil content for you. And today I'm talking about one of my favorite Resident Evil theories that I honestly do believe is true to an extent. Now I do want to state that I'm not saying that this is a true thing. This is still just a theory. It's something that I've theorized over the last few years. But I do want to share it because it does involve a character that is in a lot of the news lately in Resident Evil for good and for worse. And it is JillValentine. So here is my theory. Obviously, JillValentine was a major part of Resident Evil 5, including the fact that she seemingly died, but ultimately wasn't dead and was turned a villain for a limited time by Wesker until you freed her. But my theory is I honestly believe that Capcom wanted to kill JillValentine in Resident Evil 5, but ultimately pulled out in the end. Now, just to refresh Resident Evil 5, obviously, Jill seemingly died when she saved Chris from Wesker, knocking Wesker out of the window, and then eventually came back and was a brainwashed version of Jill that you eventually freed. But honestly, as time goes on, I honestly just think more and more that I think that Capcom honestly wanted to kill JillValentine. And I think they were really deep into the whole process of doing it. I think they were, as you would call it, in the bottom of the ninth inning. Like, they were like right on the doorstep. And I think what happened ultimately is that maybe someone in the higher ups, a CEO or something, maybe caught wind of it or heard about it, or maybe just got cold feet and then eventually said, you know what, you can't kill her, you got to stop it, change it, pull out, whatever you got to do, and, you know, have an alternative playbook. And you can't kill a legacy character like that. You just can't do it. So JillValentine was spared. Now, once again, I know what you're saying. Okay, how do you come up with that? Like, why do you honestly think that they wanted to kill her? Where's the proof? It's not so much proof, it's just more the history of what's happened afterwards. I do like to remind people that JillValentine, in terms of having a role after Resident Evil 5, it took 14 years, you know, from 2009 to Resident Evil 5 to 2023's Death Island. And keep in mind, that's just a CGI movie. So that was 14-year hiatus. Now, I've always said this before, that's a long time to not have any like new progression past a single event from any of the main characters, unless you're Jill or Claire. You can't expect that from Chris and Leon. But why do I bring this up? Why does that matter? Well, think of it like this. If you were going to kill a character, you obviously wouldn't have plans for the character afterwards, unless you want to do some whole revival thing, but I don't think that's going to kind of work in the case of this scenario. But you wouldn't have any plans for him because, you know, you kill him. So if you were about to kill him and you're kind of deep in the process and then someone tells you, hey, you know, you can't do it for whatever reasons, then you're kind of stuck with a dilemma. You're like, okay, well, we've already decided that we were killing this character, but now we can't, so what do we do from then? And the fact that for 14 years, nothing happened with Jill, it just kind of speaks for that volume that, hey, it's why I think she honestly was supposed to die in Resident Evil 5, because they don't have a game plan with Jill. It's why she wasn't a factor in Resident Evil 6, wasn't a factor in Resident Evil 7, wasn't a factor in Resident Evil Village at all. And the only thing between the Death Island and Resident Evil 5 we got in terms of progression post Resident Evil 5 was the little email and Revelations 2, but that's it. I mean, how much effort did that really take? We didn't get nothing. And for those saying, hey, you know, Revelations 1 happened and we had Resident Evil Remake, once again, those take place before, and also Revelations is a spin-off, and Remake 3 is, you know, a remake. It's not anything progressing post Resident Evil 5. So with that huge gap, what else could it be? They didn't have a game plan. And to this day, I kind of still think they don't have a game plan, because take Death Island, for example. Jill looks very familiar to her Resident Evil 3 Remake self. I mean, why not give her like a new outfit, especially if it's post Resident Evil 5, but it's like a very similar outfit and look. Not just her outfit, but her look herself to Resident Evil 3 Remake. Almost if they're saying like, you know, hey, we don't have anything post that point, so we'll just have something very similar. I guess maybe people, old school people, can recognize and remember, and it kind of gave the wrong impression, because people are thinking, oh god, they don't want to age her, and then they're going to have an excuse of why she doesn't age, and her outfit is the same thing. But honestly, maybe the reason is they just don't have any type of like design or anything, because it just wasn't really a thing and they just went with the safe bet. It could be they're lazy, who knows? I'm just speculating, but it's just kind of funny because it's like this is an iconic character, and it just seems like until I see something post that actually maybe tries to go above and beyond, it just kind of seems like, hey, they don't have a game plan with them. And that's why I honestly stick with my gun and say I think they honestly wanted to kill her, because everything post there has just been either non-existent or, you know, finally have something, but just more doesn't make sense with the whole scenario going around with it, and a lot of things in terms of her look and her design. It's just like there's no creativity at all. But the other characters, they'll go all out for them, especially Chris and Leon. So yeah, I know it's a theory. It's my theory. It's one I've thought for a while. But ultimately, I do think it kind of would make sense if it were to be true. I think a lot of things add up. A lot of things, you know, fit with each other. And in terms of just not knowing what to do with JillValentine, it just seems like, hey, they got even less when it comes to her being a main character in a major Resident Evil game. Because look at it like this. If you want to be technical, Jill hasn't been a main character in a mainline Resident Evil game since Resident Evil Nemesis back in 1999. Guys, that's over 25 years ago. Because as I said before, she wasn't a main character in Resident Evil 5. She wasn't a main character in a mainline Resident Evil post that, you know, Resident Evil 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Revelations is a spinoff, and, you know, 3 Remake is a remake. So it seems like for the past 25 years, you can possibly make a case where they don't really have a lot to do. Like, I guess Resident Evil 5 gave her the most to do that was different, but she wasn't a main character in the game. And on top of Revelations, it really didn't, you know, change the status quo of Jill. She was basically much the same. So in terms of them being creative and doing new things and really progressing her, in the past 25 years, there's barely none. And that's my whole crux of my argument, especially from the Resident Evil 5 standpoint. They just don't have anything to do. They don't know what they want to do. And it's kind of like, hey, we might mention her name or bring them back or do a post of them, but hey, you know, there's talking and there's doing, and so far we haven't really done nothing in terms of ways that fans would be satisfied with. So honestly, yeah, that's what I honestly think. You know, I guess one of the head honcho CEOs said, hey, you know what? You can't kill her. I know you're deep in the process, but no, we can't do it for whatever reasons, whether, you know, too iconic, you know, maybe the profits or, you know, whatever it may be, maybe it hurt the brand, who knows, but after that point, there's not been anything. I mean, I can't like even judge too much outside of like Death Island. There's just been nothing. So how else do you explain it for someone as iconic as JillValentine? So that's my little theory. I figured I'd give that to you guys. But at the end of the day, it is just a theory. It's not something in fact. It's something I believe based on events and history, or I guess lack of history for Jill's standpoint. But I want to hear your guys' Resident Evil theory. What's a theory that you have that maybe you can't 100% prove, but something you honestly believe, and what are your reasons for believing it, and what is it ultimately? Let me know down in the comment section down below, because I like hearing people's certain Resident Evil theories. But that is going to be it. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video, and hopefully I can see you guys back in the next one. Hopefully I can read some of your theories down below. But thank you very much for watching. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope to see you all later. Peace.